What's going on, guys? Protopon here. I realized the other day that it's been quite a while since the last time I covered a Pokemon tier list, so I reached out to my buddy Shadowgale and asked him what he thought I should do next, and he requested that I make a tier list on the Steel-type Pokemon. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Big shout out to him. Thank you so much for the request, Gale. Let's get into it, guys. Alright, so for any of you who might be new to my tier list videos and haven't seen one before, there were three things that I go off of here. First and foremost, I'm ranking Pokemon based off of their design and how much I like it, and not how well they do competitively, so let's get that out of the way. Secondly, I'm doing only, for the most part, final stage evolutions to the evolution lines. Every now and then there will be an outlier because sometimes I like maybe like a first stage or a middle stage a lot better than I like the final stage. So there's outliers like that. There is going to be one in this video. It's going to be the same outlier that I had in my dark tier list. So if you haven't seen that, go check that out, of course. But if you have seen that, that should instantly tell you what I'm talking about. And third and finally, as we go along, we will be throwing Pokemon in the first place slot in tiers A through D, all the way down to the last slot, in order of how I like them. Anything that I'm going to throw up into S tier, we're just going to land there real quick so we can move on, and we will rearrange S tier from my most favorite to my least favorite S tier at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. Without further ado, let's get started here. Sandslash, as you guys know, found himself in S tier. He was my favorite design for Ice type, so spoiler there. I really love his design for an Ice type. As a Steel type Pokemon, he's not really checking the vibe so much, but I still really do like his design overall, so it's just gonna bump him down to A tier for now. Not much more to say about that. If you guys should go check out the Ice type tier list for sure. Doug Trio, goodness gracious, we all know that this thing's redesign as a Steel type, the hair is just, it's not cutting it, guys. They need to cut the hair. D tier for sure. Berserk is actually fine. I mean, an evolution of Meowth that isn't a Persian, I don't know, this is fine, I guess. I think we can land him here in the B tier as a design goes. I don't think it's the greatest thing, but it's definitely not like some of the other things that are going to land themselves lower than B tier. If anything, you could say it's a high C tier at the very least, but I don't think so. Moving on, Magnezone. Definite A tier, actually. Landed himself there in the electric tier list. He's going to find himself here again. It's just a very good, solid design, and it obviously works way better as a Steel type. And for that, I think I'm going to bump him up above Sandslash. That's perfectly fine. Fortress here. We've got, definitely, I like Fortress better just as a design than Berserk, but you know, he's not moving. This is where he found himself in the bug tier. That's where he's going to land now. Steelix is one of the best designs for a Steel type, but high A tier worthy. You could say maybe bump him into S tier, but for me, I like this guy a lot. Don't get me wrong. He's definitely up there for my Steel types, but I don't think I can put him any higher than like a very high A tier. So Scizor, if you guys have seen the bug tier, Scizor is, again, spoiler, my favorite bug type in the game. Obviously, as a Steel type, I mean, he just looks like a good armored bug. I'm still gonna land him up here in the S tier. I still like him better as a bug than a Steel type, but the Steel type is what makes Scizor great, so we're going to put him back up there in S tier where he belongs. Skarmory is a fair design. I'd say B. Like him better than Berserk, that's for sure. Probably like him better than Fortress, but I don't think I could see myself putting him up into A tier. But he is a really good design for, you know, Gen 2 when he was introduced. I like him. He's pretty alright. Mawile. Yeah, Mawile, just like in the Fairy tier list, is going to find itself in the B tier here. Honestly, as much as I do enjoy Mawile's, you know, simple design, I think I do actually like Berserk just a little bit better. So I think we finally found something that is going to go below him for sure. Not much more to say about that. Probopass, goodness gracious. Rock tier. Still gonna find himself in the D tier here. Rock tier list, that's where he found himself. He's not moving anytime out of the D tier. Funny enough, I actually do like its design better than this abomination, so we'll put him at the top of D tier for now. Aggron, again, if you've seen the Rock tier, you should have seen this coming. Aggron is one of the best designed Pokemon as far as a Rock and a Steel type. Obviously, he looks way more like a Steel type than a Rock type, so he is absolutely going to find himself up in the S tier once again. One of the best looking kaijus in the game for sure. Moving on, Metagross. Metagross, S tier. S tier for sure. One of my favorite pseudos. It's up there. He's probably within my, I think he's probably within my top 5 or 6 pseudos. So definitely going to put him up here for sure. As a S tier design for Steel type. As a Psychic type, well, we'll probably readjust him in the Psychic video when that comes out. But let's just move on. Registeel or Registeel, A, solid A. Again, he just looks more like a Steel type, obviously, than the Sandslash. So Sandslash is getting bumped down, but I definitely still like his overall design, so I don't think I could put him any lower than an A tier. Yeah, Registeel, good solid A type, or A tier, I should say. I still like Magnezone's design better. Definitely like Steelix's design better. Jirachi is perfectly fine. It's a cute Pokemon. Really don't have too much to say about this thing. I don't think I could put him in good faith, put him in C, because it is pretty cute. So we'll put him in B tier. Empoleon is a definite A tier design. This is starting to get a little bit tricky. Do I like Empoleon's design better than Magnezone's design? Kind of, actually, yeah. Let's do that. I think that's pretty decent. It's going to be pretty hard to get past, you know, Steelix, in my opinion, for an A tier mon. So, moving on. Bastiodon. I don't really know. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, I put Bastiodon in B tier back in the Rock type tier list. I gotta say, the Steel type doesn't make him look any better, so I'm gonna just keep him here in B tier. I do like his design, I think, better than Mawile, so we'll scooch him down. Berserk is still pretty decent, so we'll do that, I guess. I think that's pretty fair. Let's see, Wormadam, which I forgot to actually put this in my bug tier, but we covered Mothin, which is just way better of an evolution for that evolutionary line. Wormadam here, D tier. D tier design, still better than Probopass. Like, it's at least its simplicity is saving it as far as D tier goes, but I think that's probably as good as we're going to get it for Wormadam for sure. Moving on, we have Bronzong. Bronzong I actually like a lot. I don't think I could say A tier for him, but I do really like its design. It is a very good defensive Pokemon, so we'll put him there. I think that's fair. Top of B tier so far for that. That's good. I like that. It's a good placement. Okay, Lucario. Okay. Don't get me wrong. I do like Lucario. I just think he is very overrated. But he is a good Pokemon. Don't get me wrong. Gotta put him in A tier for me. He's not S tier for me. I do like him. Don't get me wrong. Do I like him better than Magnezone? Magnezone just seems way more like a Steel type than anything. We'll put him there. I think that's pretty fair. He's a good Pokemon. I just think he's a little bit overrated for his design, but he is still a very good design. So, Dialga is an S tier design. First Steel Dragon, really good design. Can't really say too much more about that. Heatran, I think they could have done better. I mean, obviously he looks more obviously of his fire typing than his steel typing. I guess it's fine. Yeah, I'll put him here in the low B tier. I do think Jirachi's cuteness and Mawil's cuteness is just outdoing him as far as being something that doesn't look like a steel type, so I don't know. Maybe we could probably find these three down in C tier later on. I do like Mawile though, so I don't know. All right, Excadrill. Excadrill is definitely a fairly designed steel type Pokemon. I think we'll put him here next to Skarmory and the Fortress. I think that's quite all right. I think that's where we're gonna keep him for sure. Escavalier. This should be no surprise to any of you who've seen my bug type tier list. It's up there in the S tier. It looks absolutely fantastic. I love that Pokemon's design so much. Ferrothorn, definitely an A tier for me. I do really like this Pokemon a lot. I'm just gonna bump Sandslash all the way down here for now. Ferrothorn, do I like better than... Yeah, you know what? Hold up. Some of y'all are going to kill me in the comments probably for this, but yeah, I like Ferrothorn's design better than Lucario's design. It's really hard to say that I actually like Lucario's design better than Registeel's design. It's just Registeel is the embodiment of steel, so we got to readjust that. All right, moving on to Kling Klang. As much as Kling Klang looks good because he is a full steel type, it's the gears and whatever. I mean, it's all right, but I don't know. I'm gonna say he's top of C tier for now. I think that's pretty fair. I don't think anybody will have a problem with that. Our next Pokemon is Bisharp. I like Bisharp's design far better than Kingambit. This is our outlier for the video. S tier. One of my favorite dark type and steel types of all time, obviously. It's the only dark steel in the game, but it's definitely a solid design. I mean, Kingambit, the only thing that I have a problem with Kingambit is his head thing is just too long. They could have done a better design for the headpiece for Kingambit, but Bisharp is just... It's a solid design. I really like it. Stunfisk here. I really don't have too much to say about Stunfisk here. It's probably a D tier Pokemon. I think actually, oddly enough, still like Probopass's design better than that. I'm going to put him there, right there in D tier. Durant is a solid A tier, just like he found himself in the Bug tier. We'll put him down here. Still gonna find himself in the A tier. He looks like the sickest armored ant that you've ever seen. Fully coated in metal is absolutely amazing. Moving on, we have Cobalion and its Gen 9 remake. I forget what it's called. It's like Iron something, right? Iron Valiant or something like that, I believe. Which I actually do like this design better than this, but these are still both really good designs. I'm gonna have to put these up in A tier for me. We're just gonna move these guys down. I don't think I like them better than Ferrothorn. So we'll put them right there next to each other. Sometimes these guys is like paradox forms find themselves either higher or lower depending on what they are and what tier list they're in. For this, they're generally the same thing. I do like the paradox form a little bit better. The design details are a little bit more pronounced, I think. It just looks better. So, moving on, we have Genesect, and again, S tier. It's where it found itself in the Bug tier, and it's not moving. It is an incredible design for a Pokemon. You can't dice it any other way. The steel typing on it, again, the armored bug look is absolutely amazing. I don't really have much more to say about that. Moving on, Aegislash, again, found itself in the S tier for Ghost, and it's still going to find itself in the S tier for Steel type. Again, just a wonderfully designed Pokemon. Love the sword and shield aspect of it. Very cool. Goodra, Hisuian Goodra, goodness gracious, C tier. Honestly, I think I like the Kling Clang better as a design. This thing did not need the steel typing. It should have just stayed its normal form. I mean, I know the steel typing really made the Pokemon a lot better than what it once was, but I feel like they could have at least went down a different route design-wise for this thing, to making it a steel type. This just isn't it. But it's still a better design than any of these down here in D tier, so that is where we're going to put it for sure. And we're gonna just move on from there. Klefki, goodness gracious, is probably the worst designed Pokemon in history. I don't really have much more to say about that. It is literally a keychain. Togedemaru, just like in the electric tier, is gonna still find itself here in the C tier, but it is going to get to the top because I definitely think it's a lot cuter and just a better simple design than these two over here. So not much more to say about it. It's a decent Pika clone. Probably definitely one of my favorite Pika clones, but it's not really saying much because I really don't like Pikachu all that much to begin with. Solgaleo is a amazing design. Definitely going to find itself in the A tier, probably high A tier in all honesty. Let's put him right here next to Empoleon. Really good design, really fantastic. The coloration everywhere. It really, they did very well designing that. Of course, I like Lunala better, but still very good design. Celesteal, actually pretty decent design. I'm gonna have to throw this in B tier. Where do I want to put it in B tier? Now that's a question. I don't know. I think it's just really done well enough to be at the top of B tier here. Excadrill is still a very fine Pokemon. but I think just the coloration of this is just really nice, in my opinion. I think they did pretty well on the design of this. Moving on, we have Kartana, which I really haven't had too much interaction seeing this Pokemon before, but yeah, I mean, it's pretty decent in its simplicity. You know what? I do like it a bit better than the Heatran here. But I don't think... Do I like it better than Jirachi? I mean, it is pretty interesting looking. You know what? Let's move these down. Mawile can go down. Yeah, Bastiodon can go down. Wow, I am liking this a little bit better than I thought I would. Berserk. But I think that's where I'm going to have to cut it off. Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. Again, I don't really... I didn't play this generation. I don't really have too much to say on this. Again, that's why I'm going purely off of design with these videos. It's simple, but it looks good. It looks good. Magearna, just like in the fairy type tier list, is going to find itself up in the A tier for sure. We'll put it right next to the Lucario and right next to the Durant. I think that's fair. It obviously looks like a steel type Pokemon more than it looks like a fairy, but it's got that petiteness to it, making it a fairy. It looks good. It looks good. Stagataga. Jeez. Think C tier. I forgot where I put it in the rock tier, but it definitely looks more like a rock type than a steel type. But I think it still looks interesting enough that we'll put it in the C tier. Right there next to Goodra, right next to Klinklang. I think that's fine. Melmetal here. Or Melmetal, yeah, Melmetal. It's fine. It's a fine design. I think it's kind of basic. Like, obviously it looks like metal. It looks like a steel type. I am going to move the Heatran down, just because it still looks more like a molten fire guy than it does a steel type. Let's move these over. Let's move the Bastiodon over. We'll move the Berserk over, and we'll land it right here in between. I think Kartana's design just looks better, in all honesty. So, moving on, we have Corviknight. Now, Corviknight is a wonderfully designed Pokemon. I don't think I would put it in S tier, but it's definitely a high A tier. Yeah, I think between Empoleon and Solgaleo for me. I do like Corviknight is just a really good looking bird. I don't think anybody would argue that point. Moving on, we have Caparaja. Caparaja is actually a really fairly designed Pokemon. The coloration of it really stands out. It's complementary to itself. Where do I want to put this thing? I don't think I could put it into A tier, but again, I think a good mid-range B tier maybe. Maybe even like a higher B tier. I think what we'll do is we'll put Caparaja between Fortress and Excadrill. I think that's pretty fair. I'm really just trying to get this. Whoa, what happened there? Okay, whatever. Cool. Yeah, right there. You guys can see it. Well, I guess we can shrink them. There. Sure. Alright, moving on. We're getting closer to the end here. How do you pronounce this thing? It's the evolution of Duraludon, Archaludon. Very cool Pokemon. I did really like the Duraludon back in Gen 8. I would say that in itself is a good high A tier. And I think I'm going to say the same thing for this. The Duraludon I probably would say I like better than Corviknight in design, just barely.
Do I like this better than Empoleon and Steelix is the question. I really don't think so. I mean, it's a pretty good design, but the slightly simpler look to Empoleon and Steelix, I think, does it for me. So I think I am going to put Archaludon, or however you say this, right there next to Empoleon and above Corviknight here. I think that's fair. Moving on, Zacian. Now this time around, we'll just cover both Zacian and Zamazenta both here. Obviously, when I did the fairy type, I just covered Zacian's non-sword form. Gonna do this, not gonna do that obviously here because now he's gained the steel type. I think these guys are fairly designed. I do like Zamazenta better though. That being said, they're not going in C tier. If anything, they're probably gonna end up as high B tiers. Let's start moving some stuff down from B tier to C tier, guys. I think Jirachi can come down. That's fine. Mawile, I'm sorry, you can come down. Obviously, you look more like a fairy than a steel type, regardless. So we'll bring you down for this video, down a tier. Bastiodon definitely isn't going to go down any further though, because it is definitely B tier worthy. Caparaja, I guess we can make you a little bit bigger now, but Excadrill, this can come, you know what? You guys are gonna probably hate me for this, but I really don't care. This is my tier list after all. I like this better than Zacian. I'm gonna put Zamazenta, honestly, up at the top of B tier. Skarmory can be third place. I just like the simplicity of Skarmory better than the rest of these. Yeah. Gonna put that up at B tier. Y'all can flame me in the comments if you want, but again, I like Zamazenta's design just overall better than Zacian's. Just because it's not trying to hold a sword in its mouth, and it just looks like a good armored wolf. Like, it just looks good. Tinkaton found itself in B tier, in the fairy tier. I think it still deserves to be in B tier here. Let's just cut its picture down. I think I like it a little bit better than Bastiodon. Do I like it better than Bastiodon? You know what? No, but I do think it still deserves to be in B tier, so we'll put it at the end of B tier there, and we won't talk anymore about it. Revavroom, or yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how you say this. I like this thing's design. I forget where I put it in the poison tier. I believe it was probably like C tier, B tier. Obviously, it looks more like a steel type. I mean, it is a machine. You know, it's a car, it's a motor. It definitely would be poison type too. I think it definitely looks better, a little bit better as a steel type. We'll put it right here next to Fortress. I think that's fair. I do like it better than Kartana. Moving on, we have however you say this thing. This is what it's new. It's Gen 9, right? It's Gen 9. Earthworm, right? Earthworm here. It's not bad in its simplicity. I'll put it in C tier. I'll put it behind Goodra. I think that's fair. Iron Treads. Oh, right. I forgot. This is Iron Crown. Yeah, Iron Crown is good. Iron Treads is probably my favorite look to... why am I blanking on its name? Gen 2. Phanpy evolves into it. Why am I spacing on this? This Generation 2 is my generation, for crying out loud. I'm gonna
hurt. This is bad. I'm sorry, guys. Don fan, right? This could honestly easily. I just don't think I can put it above Steelix. This is now second place for the top of A tier. Iron Treads. I really enjoy that thing's design. And Steelix is still going to be number 1 up there in A tier. I don't think I have much more to say on it. It's a really cool looking Paradox form. It's not over the top or anything like that, but it just looks so solid in my opinion. Moving on to Goldango. I forgot where I put this thing in the ghost tier, because I forgot this thing was a ghost going back over this. Obviously, it looked more like a steel type than a ghost type, but honestly, I still don't like this thing's design all that much. We'll put it there at the bottom of C tier, in between Goodra and the Earthworm. And that, guys, is the end of everything A through D. Now, let's rearrange S tier. And this is going to be hard. This is going to be really hard, guys. I'm just trying to make Empoleon bigger there for a moment. This is tough. This is really tough. Let's just try to go from least to greatest, I think, is how we're, of course, going to have to do this. Metagross, I think I'm going to have to put at the bottom of S tier. Followed by Dialga. Then probably Genesect. Aegislash. Oh man, this is tough. Guys, this is so tough. This just looks so good. Obviously, I can't put it higher than Scizor because I like Scizor as a bug still better than that. Although this is, as a bug, I like his design, but I'm still going to have to put Scizor above him. Guys, I think that's it. I think Aggron has made its way to the top of a tier list. I think it is such a good designed Kaiju, Steel type. I don't know. Scizor, this is still tough because this is still one of my all-time favorite Pokemon all time. Because obviously we're talking about S tier here. Oh, man, I don't know. This is so hard, but I think I'm going to have to say, yeah, Aggron as a steel type. As a steel type, I think I like it better than Scizor. I still like Scizor at the end of the day better than Aggron as a Pokemon. Don't get me wrong. Scizor as a bug type, I like better as Aggron as a rock type. There's no contest there, really. But it's close. It's really close. They're both phenomenally designed Pokemon. I'm gonna have to give it to Aggron as the best Steel-type design out there. It's not over the top and outlandish. It's very good looking. I mean, it's a Kaiju for, at the end of the day. So, really good. It's a close call. Like, all these are pretty close to each other, regardless, right? They're all S tier. You could probably interchange some of these. You know what? Do I like... No, I still think I like Dialga a little bit less than I like Genesect. But, again, not by much. Not by much. But anyway, guys, that is going to wrap it up for this steel type tier list. Guys, leave a comment below. Who is your favorite steel type? Let me know. We can have a discussion about it. But anyway, guys, I've taken up more than enough time of your day for today. So until next time, guys, stay safe out there. Take care. I'm Protopawn. Peace.